All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Pizza Pastime Show. I am your host, Jakob Moreno, back with the offseason podcast. I know I haven't been back. I know I haven't been doing this weekly. As you can see, I'm currently not in San Antonio right now. This last month, I've been working back at Lubbock and Texas Tech, doing my own thing, and it's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. So I decided to take a break from doing this little podcast. But no, can't get me away from basketball. There's a lot of basketball news that happened, so I wanted to get back on and talk about it. We had a lot of exciting stuff to happen, man. There's been so much basketball since I last been on. Steph and them have won the chip. Jason Tatum had an abysmal finals performance. Derek White has been, in my eyes, one of the greatest role players ever to grace this land. Derek White stepped up whenever Boston needed him to, and with that series as a whole, there was really only anything that you can only do so much as a role player. But I know me, Juan, and Chris were all rooting for Derek to have a great series, and he was killing it for the first couple games. There's just been a lot since the last time that we left off, because I'm pretty sure we got off on the game sevens of the conference finals, and so it might have only been like the second round or something like that, actually, because I'm thinking it was actually Dallas and Phoenix, right? Whenever I was last live with Chris and Juan, so even in those conference finals, I had been surprised in the East because I didn't really think that Boston was going to go that far. Miami, I guess I was like, I knew that they needed to have Jimmy Butler perform as good as he did in order for them to make it to that spot. But either way, that's all past time now. There's not really too much to talk about with that kind of stuff anymore. Really, honestly, in terms of just those two conference finals, my biggest thoughts from it were that Luka, I feel like Luka was able to bring that team to that spot, but it kind of felt like Hawks-ish. Not in the team personnel. I do think that this Dallas Mavericks team was better than the Atlanta Hawks of last year, but that this was a team that was kind of overachieving. They probably shouldn't have been in the conference finals, but they made it to the conference finals. And that, that's not a bad thing, honestly. I don't ever want to say it was a bad thing in terms of overperforming, but either way, I just felt like that's how that was with that series. So then Golden State was able to take care of them. And that Miami-Boston series, to me, was very entertaining. I don't really care what other people say. They say that it wasn't entertaining. Blowouts or whatever, you're only going to be able to find so much entertainment in that, but I was still able to find the little entertainment that I could in watching them. But then, that game 7, man, that was so tight, man. That was so tight. And, one thing that Juan likes to say a lot is that big-time players make big-time plays. And so I think literally all of his life, Jimmy Butler has always been the big-time player. He's always been that guy that makes those plays. So for him not to make that transition 3, if I'm not mistaken, he played all 48 minutes in the game, all the minutes in the game up until that point. And so I felt like it was very Kevin Durant-ish from the year prior, where Kevin Durant literally was just one toe tap away, or one foot on his shoe to not be on the 3-point line. Well, Jimmy Butler's shot looked lined up, but it just was just a little, he just didn't have enough oomph to be able to get that 3 to go in to seal the deal. But either way, it was exciting to see that kind of stuff happen. And then for the finals, the first couple games were very exciting to see, because even though Jason Tatum had been pretty bad, everybody else had been stepping up, and they've been putting it on, man. They would not have backed down from the challenge against Golden State, no matter what. But eventually it was very apparent that they needed a guy to step up, and they didn't have that guy. And that's not to harp on Jason Tatum, but that's just how the series went. I still think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are going to be able to do their thing this coming up year. I think they need to do just a little bit of retooling, move things around a little bit to where they can have just like, honestly, I think if you know that you have to rely on a guy like not Robert Williams, sorry. If you have to rely on Time Lord to be that guy, like your consistent center, and he kind of does have like these lingering injury issues, where it's just like nagging at him. He's not gonna be 100% all the time. You need to have a true backup five, a guy who can come in and take those minutes. I don't think Daniel Tice would be able to do that, and Al Horford's getting older and older every day, so you can't really have that kind of stuff. You don't have that luxury when it comes to having those guys out there. So I think finding yourself a true backup five that doesn't really need to get rotational minutes. I don't think he really does need rotational minutes, but if he can come in and make an impact no matter what, kind of how Phoenix had Bismack Biyombo this last year. That's something for me, is like, yeah, if Boston can get that would be good. I know I hear a lot of people say that they need a point guard. They don't need a point guard. They have Derek White and they have Marcus Smart. They need to start figuring out how to turn the ball over less. They need to stop turning the ball over. They need to start, cracking down on that kind of stuff. And I think like the biggest thing for like Jaylen Brown is his ball handle, and then Jason Tatum, honestly, I don't have any excuses for him. He just needs to get better. Like I don't really know how to say, like, he just had a bad series. I guess you could try to fix shot selection, but you just had a really bad series, man. You can't really do anything about it at this point. So you just have to go into next year with your heads held high and see what Boston can bring in. But for Golden State, it's exciting to see Steph win again. I've never been a hater of Steph up until KD was there with them, and so that was a thing where it was just like, yeah, I mean, it was really cool to see Steph win his ring. I respect Draymond a lot more now than I did beforehand, and then Clay's always been cool to me, but I'm a little tired of seeing all the Steph fans, not necessarily Steph himself, right? But all the Steph fans try to compare him to Timmy. I know that was a big thing these last this last week since they've won, is that they're trying to see where Steph ranks all time now that he's got this next chip. And I mean, I would firmly put him in my top 10, but that doesn't, Timmy is in my top 5 to 7 range. Steph's going to be in the 8 to 10 range. So there shouldn't be any debate, any fighting where Timmy is and where Steph is. Both sacrificed a lot to win the chips that they have, but Timmy has done more for the Spurs than Steph has so far for the Warriors. And I mean, Steph's still got a whole another couple years to see if he can get a couple more rings and stuff like that to overtake the likes of Timmy and Kobe, So, but for now, I'll let Steph sit tightly on my top 10. If you're gonna ask me who gets taken out of my top 10, I don't know. I have like MJ, Bron, Kareem. Then it's MJ, Bron, Kareem. Then like Timmy, Wilt, Bill, and that can be interchangeable. Honestly, between all three of those, I would say that it's interchangeable between Timmy, Bill, and Wilt. With that 4, 5, 6, and then Kobe at 7. I don't think Shaq's. I don't know. Shaq, like, I think at that point, right, Larry, Magic, Shaq would be 8, 9, 10 in any order. But then Steph's right there to like take whoever out of those three. And I would kind of say Shaq. I think I would say Shaq. I think he beats Shaq. That might just be the Lakers hater in me. That I could just have that bias in saying that, but I'm not too sure. Either way, I think between those three guys, Steph's fighting to take one of those positions. So that's one thing with that take about Steph and how Golden State's been. But there's been that was all like the finals. I just wanted to recap some of that stuff just because I didn't get to get on and talk about it during when it was all happening. So I kind of just wanted to get on to talk about that a little bit. But now, like, my big thing is the offseason talks and the trade rumors and draft rumors and all that kind of good stuff. I'm excited to see what San Antonio is going to do because no one knows at all, like, ever and any time on any decade that anybody knows who the San Antonio Spurs are going to draft up until 5 seconds before the draft the draft pick actually happens. So with that, it's like a thing where I'm just excited to see who we're gonna pick. I'm really hoping that we do get a good looking forward, or maybe even a big if we're gonna be looking to trade Jakob. But more or less looking for that forward, that guy that's just gonna fit right in with the other guys. I'm not trying to see anybody be turned expendable or see anybody get traded on draft night or anything like that. Because it's just like, yeah, I like our team. I don't think our team really needs to be moved too much right now. Other than whenever I see the trade rumors that Indiana wants to trade Miles Turner for the 18th freaking time, I'm like, I don't know. Every time I see it, I want to just be like, San Antonio, make the trade. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I see it all the time. You see the rumors all the time where Miles Turner is gonna get traded, but he never gets traded. So we'll see. I honestly wouldn't mind see what we could do if it's like maybe. Honestly, like the biggest thing that came to my head was if we were able to kind of just do like salary cap filler, like Doug and a little bit of filler. Maybe that's Jock. I think we need a little bit more than just Jock to fill up the cap right there, because I think Doug's making 13 and Miles Turner's making 18. So there's like a $5 million cap differential there that I think we do need to make up. I'm not too sure, honestly. The big thing is that, like, you know, if we're still trying to have like a max cap space, or a max space for whatever that signing that we'd be trying to do in the off season, then we probably would be trying to move salary off the books, and instead of just trying to just straight up soak up Miles Turner's cap. And honestly, whenever I think about like the Christian Wood trade, Houston is a rebuilding team. Houston is a team that would love to have more than just one draft pick off of a trade like that, but they traded Christian Wood and got salary filler and one late first round pick. If I were you, or if I could guesstimate, I would say that a guy like Christian Wood and Miles Turner are in the same tier of basketball player. What Christian Wood can do more offensively than Miles Turner can do defensively that Christian Wood can't at all. So I would literally say that they're in the same range of role player, in the same tier. And if a rebuilding team like Houston traded their center or their big, because he could play the 4, right? But their big for salary cap filler and a late first round pick, I see no reason as to why we shouldn't just throw an offer of 25, 38, and whatever the Toronto pick is, plus salary filler for Miles Turner. Like, that's I think, like, my take is that I don't think they'd accept it. I'm not too, like, I would assume that Miles Turner is a little bit more valuable than Christian Wood. The age, the age differential, the cap differential. Miles Turner is on a good contract and is a younger center that can build with a younger team. So I can understand us having to give up more than what Christian would be, but I still could see that type of trade happening for Miles Turner in that manner. So that's like my only thing. I don't think we have to give up our biggest assets to Indiana if they're looking to just move off of Miles Turner. Kind of like the same way how Houston did for Christian Wood. So I think that's like my biggest thing. I wanted to bring that up right now just because I know me and my brother Juan had been like talking on Twitter about just like what we would give up. I made the joke that I would just give up Jock in 2 seconds, which obviously, yeah, if that's exactly what they asked, no question, right? But I knew no one in their right mind accepts that deal for Miles Turner. So I wanted to get on with a little bit of thoughts about like what we could do to trade for Miles Turner. And honestly, if I'm hearing within the next couple days that we're trading away 25, 38, Doug McDermott and Jakob for Miles Turner, I wouldn't say no. Personally, because of what Miles Turner can bring offensively, and he's not. I honestly would say that he's not that far off of what Jakob brings defensively. So there's a good give and take on that, where I do think that Miles Turner could help us because of his fit with our team more than Jakob could. That's not to say that I want to immediately trade Jakob, because if I'm starting the season off with Jakob as my center, you're not going to hear any complaints out of me. That's my guy. I'm not trying to just deal away Jakob right away. Don't take it as a betrayal. I know my brothers like to see it as a whole betrayal whenever I want to say, well, then we can just throw this guy in a trade and it'll work, right? And they'll think like, man, you just really don't like that guy, right? Nah, I love Jakob. If I'm starting my season off with Jakob, I'm starting the season off with Jakob. That's my guy. Excuse me, sorry about that. But yeah, no, there's just that's just some of the stuff with the trade rumors, with the NBA draft rumors for San Antonio. I think the other thing that I saw just earlier was that Jaden Ivey, top pick in the draft, like has not put us on his radar or something like that, or we just haven't been in contact with him at all in terms of the draft, which kind of makes me think that we're probably not trading up, or at least not trading up to get Jaden Ivey, which I'm okay with. I don't really want to see that guy or that point guard on our team because of how the other guys don't fit with the team. I know a lot of people like to make the saying of just draft talent over need, over fit, and I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, why would we trade up to draft more, like to draft talent that's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I wouldn't see Jaden Ivey really fitting with our best player in DeJounte Murray. So if we're going to trade Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell to move up to get Jaden Ivey, like, what does that even do? That still doesn't give us anything. It doesn't move us forward anywhere, because we're just stuck with 2 point guards on our team. And just like, why would we do that? And then what else with I think that's really it for me with like the Spurs draft rumors. The other stuff that came up today that I wanted to talk about was Kyrie Irving and how he's just been he's at an impasse or whatever the Shams report says. He's not really what's it called? He doesn't want to be, it's like a thing where it's just like Brooklyn probably still wants to compete, but they don't want to pay Kyrie Irving that much money, which is understandable because that could just put them in a bad position within the next couple years. And why would they want to have Kyrie Irving on their books like that? But obviously, as a guy like Kyrie Irving, you still want to get paid. You want to get all that stuff. And I'm sure that if Brooklyn doesn't pay him, that he'll get paid somewhere else. But the thing that annoys me is that I'm seeing like things where it's like Kyrie Irving to the net or to the Lakers, and I'm like, how is that gonna work? What is Brooklyn really going to accept Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving? Like, what else do the Lakers have to give to Kyrie, or to give to the Nets for Kyrie Irving? Like, that's so dumb to me. I don't understand. Like, it's one of those things. I saw reports the other week about like how like Washington quote unquote checked in on DeJounte Murray, and everybody made jokes about like, well, I check in on Rihanna, I check in on this stuff, doesn't mean I'm gonna get it. And it's like, yeah, exactly, right? Like, I feel like I hear the Lakers in these rumors all the time, but I feel like they're the team that actually gets things, like, somehow, some way they're able to make things work for the little amount of leverage and the little amount of talent, or not talent, little amount of like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Value. The little amount of value that they have on that roster besides Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And it's like, how does that even work? How do they continue to get away with this, right? And it's so confusing to me. Like, at the moment, I don't see how Kyrie Irving is a Laker within the next season. But then watch it actually happen, and me just be like completely like bamboozled, be completely dumbfounded that Kyrie Irving somehow is in purple and gold next year. So I don't know. NBA trades can be a little wacky sometimes, and that's why I'm just so confused. Like I don't understand why Brooklyn would do something like that. But either way, that's been like the other big thing about like what Kyrie Irving, like he's just like been the news today. So I don't really think that there's been other stuff. I did kind of address the Christian Wood trade a little bit. I thought he was going to be a little bit more valuable than just like the 29th pick in the draft or 28th pick in the draft, something like that. But I mean, hey, if that's all that it takes to get a guy like Christian Wood on your team, San Antonio should easily be trying to look to move that 25th pick to pick up a guy that is just as good as Christian Wood is, because we need a guy like that. We need a guy who could bang up in the post and give some relief time for Jakob if Jakob's still our big. So it's stuff like that I mean there's like a little bit of NBA stuff that's been happening, and I mean, yeah, like it's still exciting. I titled this little episode as like basketball is year round, because basketball isn't year round, but we just got out of June and we'll be having just a little bit of basketball stuff. I'll be excited for summer league once the draft happens. There's little things like that that'll keep me in touch with basketball over the course of a full year. That I definitely want to still continue to get on and talk, just even if it is for this little 20-minute talk that I'm doing right now. But with my other episodes, I did have music talks, and I still plan to do that. So with this week's music talk, it was definitely interesting because it's not anything new right now. It's not anything new. I actually went a little old school with my discoveries this week, and I decided to go into a Tribe Called Quest. So my recommendations this week would be to listen to the Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders, and or Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Honestly, all three of these, they're pretty darn good, and I've only been able to fully listen to these things like twice, to these albums around twice right now. But man, 90s rap, man, 90s rap is something. This group is definitely a thing that I've heard of them before, and I know like a couple of their songs already. But in my like last week that I've been listening to them, it's just been a blast. It's been a blast trying to see what older rap was like, man, and it can be pretty great. So I think my recommendation for this week goes to a Tribe Called Quest, and it's just been really good, man. Their stuff's been really good. I really don't have a way to describe that kind of music because it's something that I don't really know. Like I don't really listen to 90s rap all too often. And it's just a different vibe. It's just a different feel from anything that I'm regularly used to. But they're pretty cold, man. Pretty cold to say the least. So, but with that said, guys, I'm glad I was able to get on and talk a little bit about some basketball. Talk my couple little minute and a half about music. I always want to try to bring that into my talks over the off season, just because I like music. Music's another hobby of mine. So if I have something to bring up, something to talk about, then I'll bring it up. So. But with that being said, make sure that you do follow our Twitter at Heroes Half Court. I'll go ahead and pull that up right there, just at the bottom. And you do follow us on Twitter at Heroes Half Court, where we do talk about like the Spurs and basketball. We'll pretty much just be in and around the basketball world. So if I'm not on YouTube talking, then you can probably interact with us on Twitter. So, but with that being said, guys, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I am out.